Going live, and we're live. So, hello everyone. Welcome once again to another edition of EarpChat. Today, we're going to be talking about episode 9, Undo It. And as usual, I'm just going to give everyone a chance to filter in before we start getting into the meat of the episode. So, how's everyone's Monday/weekend? Did anyone do anything of note in particular? Reading comments. Hello. Good evening to everyone, especially to those who are not in my time zone, the true MVPs of this chat each week. Everyone saw A Simple Favor this weekend, so did I. And I would love to talk about it here, but unfortunately, I'm assuming that not everyone has seen it yet, so I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything about it other than Blake Lively is a goddess among women, and that's all I have to say. So everyone, yes, if you have a chance to see it, go see it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Did it surprise me? The movie? I'm pretty good at predicting what's going to happen in movies because largely all movies are the same. And there's like a formula that works for a certain type of movie. So there were some surprising moments. But usually I don't really have a hard time picking out what's going to happen unless it's a really, 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 really spectacular movie. Which I wouldn't necessarily classify A Simple Favor as, but it was still really fun. And Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively, all day. Not a spoiler, but Blake Lively could kick me in the face and I'd be happy about it, yes. I want Blake Lively as her character in A Simple Favor to push me down a flight of stairs, basically. Blake could kill me and I'd still be happy. So could Anna for that fact. Yep, that's a mood. Okay, so 3 minutes in, it looks like we have the regular crew here. So welcome back. And welcome to anyone who's new to EarpChat. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about episode 9, which a large part was dedicated to Winona in a sort of dreamscapey hypnosis loop, kind of a Groundhog Day thing. And Doc was also there, as was Bobo, and the other half of our lovely train wreck of a cast was dealing with Waverly's ring situation and trying to get the ring off of her. And also towards the back half of the episode, trying to find Winona and Doc before, something bad happened as they were in the nightmare world. So that was the episode. And once again, I have a full freaking page of notes about what we need to talk about because there was a lot in there. And every episode this season, pretty much since Jolene, has been stuffed with information and twists and craziness. And it just seems to be getting crazier and crazier. So with that, is there anything that you guys want to talk about specifically first before I launch into my just rant of bullet points that I have? Melanie was so good at conveying Winona's exhaustion and despair. I'm going to get into that more later when we actually talk about the loop that she was living. But yes, and I was so impressed. I'm always impressed with Melanie and her acting abilities. I mean, how could you not be after last season's finale? But this episode especially, I thought was really indicative of what she's capable of as an actress. In a very good way. I honestly have no theories left after this episode. I have no idea where they're going. A lot of time, I mean, I feel pretty much the exact same way. I mean, we could speculate all day about what we think is happening, but at the end of the day, you really don't know because the show's crazy. Let's start at the beginning at Way Hot. We should just start at the beginning. We should just go chronologically. Winona's secret wife returned. Yeah, Mercedes was back. Danny Kind, which I was thrilled for her to be back. Even given the shape that she was in, face all effed up, but she did get her face back at the end of the episode, and we'll talk about that too. I thought about the Legends episode when Winona started to lose hope. It reminded me of Zari in that episode. I just love, yes, Max, absolutely. I love a loop episode. And it's kind of a tropey template that a lot of shows use, which is what makes it so great, is because you can play with each different character differently and they'll react to that situation differently. But ultimately, it all boils down to how long can that person, A, do the same thing, again and again and again until they realize that it's not working, or B, how long can they withstand being in the, nightmare loop. And so let's just start there. Let's start with the looping of the episode. I could not have been more impressed with that. And like I said, a lot of shows do this. And this one stood out particularly because it was so, mainly because of Melanie's, despair and her convincing acting of Winona just being completely exhausted with the situation. Or, first and foremost, she was really driven to fix, what was happening, to get out of the loop. And over again, she's just being witty and quippy and not letting it weigh on her too harshly. And then you start to see like the reality of it set in. And it felt the most like nightmares I feel like that we have, like that I've definitely had, where you're trying to do something and it's just like you get through one door and you're in it, the same room that you started. So it was very nightmarish, very well done. And Melanie was great, obviously. And when I prepare for these EarpChats, I tend to read articles reviewing and recapping the episode. And one that I continually find myself going back to is Den of the Geek. And I don't know if you guys have read this website's reviews of Winona Earp, but they're really, really good. And something in the article about episode 9 really stood out to me. Basically, the quote was, in a nutshell, like how do you defeat somebody like Winona, who is completely headstrong and really confident and really determined. And the quote is, you make her think she's won and then you take it all away, which is so heartbreaking because, especially in that moment where she thinks she's broken the cycle, she thinks her and Doc are back in the moment where they started the loop, and then she leaves the barn and finds herself back in the, start of it. And like, that was so heartbreaking. And that was the moment where Melanie like really just acted her ass off. So I've just rambled on, but I love a good loop. It's great. And Grace mentions the projection of Doc. I mentioned in my reaction that it gave me like Wizard of Oz / I don't know why it reminded me of like the organ from Beauty and the Beast, but like definitely Wizard of Oz vibes. It was just all really well done and kind of different than stuff that I'd seen before. Bolshar broke Winona so hard. He is really a good villain. I will say that I'm very impressed with his villainy this season because it seems like he has all the cards, no pun intended. He seems like he's always one step ahead of Winona, and it feels different than the Widows did last season. It kind of seemed like they were pretty evenly matched, the Widows and Winona, but he kind of just is on a whole other level. And this episode was really like, shows you how much of a different level he's on, because he really knew how to pull out her weaknesses and her fears of being alone, you know, having all of the graves around her of her friends. That's some cold shit, for real. Doc watching her and telling her how many times she killed Bobo. That was heartbreaking. And as Chris said, every time Winona seemed to be getting her footing, Bulshar changed it up, which is why it was such an effective loop, because it wasn't just the same thing every time, like that Legends episode with Zari, which I thought was great. I actually really liked it. But this one was just so frustrating to watch. And it was in those little details, like having Doc have to tell her how many times she'd kill Bobo, and having her like think that she hadn't killed him that many times, and she was like in the first iteration of that particular loop, which she wasn't, and having her, you know, think she had gotten out of it and hadn't actually gotten out of it. It was all the little details that made it work. Can we talk about the Winona and Bobo scene? Yes, we can, because it was really, again, I think I've said heartbreaking like 6 times already, but it was really heartbreaking. Bobo is a very interesting character because, like I've said, I think in my first or second reaction of this season, you don't really quite know where he stands at any given time. And him and Winona seem to be enemies, but not really. And he's still, you know, trying to protect Waverly, and it's all very, his motives are not really clear. I really liked the scene when we saw Bobo and Winona die together. It was very interesting. Yeah. It was compelling as a scene, especially since, you know, he's died before and she's also died before in a way. But they're both like coming back to life, and like the rules really don't apply to them. And then in this instance, they come back to life also. You don't often see the two of them together, like in that kind of like mutual respect-ish way. And was interesting because it kind of proved that they're more alike than they would probably care to admit. I don't know, just having her be so defeated with this mind game that Bulshar is playing, and then also Bobo's speech about how it never ends ever, and you can never really get out from under his thumb. Kind of, you know, they're both fighting the same forces, I guess. He managed to make her actually give up Peacemaker, which was the result of all of this. The goal that he had in mind when putting Winona through this ringer was to get Peacemaker, and we found out that Peacemaker was the key to the Garden of Eden, which he knows where it is, but now he has a way in. So that's bad. So we don't have Peacemaker anymore, which is bad in itself. And in addition to that, it's the key to getting him into the garden. So we don't really know what's going to happen when he does get to the garden, though, and how bad it actually is. But I'm assuming it's pretty bad. It'd be interesting to see how things go without Peacemaker. Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things where you don't know, the old cliche, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And I guess when you think of Winona Earp, you kind of don't ever really think of her without Peacemaker. And you just assume that she's always going to have it. And now she doesn't. And that's scary. He's so powerful, Diana says. He's so powerful, and it just seems to always be toying with our heroes. Like he could take them out at any time, but he just keeps playing with them. Yeah, I mean, he's so calculated. I feel like everything that he's done up until this point has been done like very specifically and very meticulously. And I think he said something to the effect of, in one of the episodes, like he was buried for many, many years and probably had this much time to plan what he was going to do when he got out. So yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing. And that's always like the scariest villain, I think. More so than the widows. He just seems smarter in a way. Peacemaker can't kill him without that special bullet she used on the widows. Good point. Forgot about that. I think Waverly in the ring will have to be the new weapon. Yeah. So moving on from the Winona side of the story, which we can come back to if we feel the need. The other half of the story was occupied by mostly Nicole and Waverly trying to figure out how to get the ring off. They run into Mercedes, real Mercedes, not widow Mercedes, with her recently reconstructed face. And they've been trying to get the ring off. Ring won't come off. Bobo later reveals that it's her father's ring, Waverly's father's ring, meaning Julian. So at some point, it was taken from Julian by Bulshar, which kind of makes a lot of sense, being that it's protected the people that Waverly loves and also is now attached to her. So that was really cool and interesting, and that makes kind of more sense as we move forward. But yeah, Waverly, Nicole, and Jeremy just getting it done, getting shit done, finding people, pulling them out of trees, as they do. I'm going to read some comments now. So the ring will be the new weapon, or the ring will be a new spell like the one that Bobo, Juan Carlo, and Constance used to imprison Clutie, aka Bulshar, in the ground. So far it seems like it's a pretty powerful object. And I believe it was Kate that said, like, not to underestimate the power of that object to Waverly when she put the ring on. So it seems like the ring is going to be really important moving forward. And now that it's like attached to Waverly seems like she herself is going to be really important to either the success or the non-success of Bulshar. Sorry, I'm reading this. So this is about Winona. When she comes back and she sees all those marks showing her that she's been through the loop more times than she thought, we can't even know that she was really through the loop, or were any of those real. I mean, it's all a mind game. So you're absolutely right. That's what made it so interesting, is that, like, there were little parts here and there where you're like trying to get your footing on the situation, but like you could never figure it out because Bulshar just kept changing all the rules. What's in the garden that he wants? Tree of Knowledge. We did talk about this in a past EarpChat, and it seems likely that we would continue on the theme of biblical canon, if that makes sense. So in the Garden of Eden, the Tree of Knowledge is notoriously in the Garden of Eden. But I don't know how far they're going to take it in terms of it being like biblically accurate, because in the, original Adam and Eve, they eat from the Tree of Knowledge, and that's what kind of destroys their innocence. It's what kind of like screws them over in a way. So maybe he's going for it, maybe he's not. He seems like he's already pretty knowledgeable, but maybe there's some nuance to the Tree of Knowledge that we don't know about yet in the world of Winona Earp. Max says, only Waverly and Doc's graves were shown. It was interesting that Nicole's grave wasn't there too. I sort of thought I saw like one in the background behind Bulshar that may have been Nicole's, but I couldn't read it. I might have to look back and look at it. It's kind of like you'd think that Nicole's would be there, because, Winona's said that she cares for Nicole. So, but I don't know. Maybe the trees will be able to break whatever control Bulshar has on them and help out the gang. That would be great. That would be very Macbethian, and I would really appreciate that, just for the sake of it being like, I don't know. It's very fantastical. Speaking of Belshar's plans, I think that Mercedes will be sticking around because she's a gardener, the oldest family in purgatory. Good point. Yes. I didn't think about that. I think that she's going to stick around, and I feel like Danny Kind has at least mentioned that she's excited to be back, which makes me think that she's not only back for one episode, but who knows. But I would love if she sticks around. So back on Jeremy, Nicole, and Waverly, and Mercedes, I guess, since we're talking about her again. Peacemaker is gone, but we have Julian's ring now, which could be a good thing. Looks like it's a good thing. Also, Jeremy in the episode, like, could sense where Doc and Winona were because of their fear. And this was pointed out to me on Twitter, and because I kind of was confused about that in my reaction, but apparently he was in a car accident with his mom and can sense fear now. I totally spaced on that. Didn't remember that at all, but that's pretty cool. It gives Jeremy a little bit more, oomph in the group, as opposed to just being the tech guy and the science guy, which he's very good at, but a little extra. The staircase, what is it? Who knows? Is it the entrance to the garden? Why can some people see it and some people not see it? Like Winona was there. So every person that's been in the place with the staircase has seen it and remembered it was there, but not necessarily in photos after they left. But Winona was confused and said she didn't see it. So that's interesting. I think that the stairs are probably the entrance to the garden. Because what else would they be? Let's be real. This is an interesting take. Samantha says, Winona kind of gets a taste of what it's like to be a revenant in the Bobo scene. And Bobo was a good guy before he died, and then going through how repeatedly broke him, kind of like Belshar is doing to her. Yeah, that's something I totally didn't realize, but that makes perfect sense. And I think that experience that they shared definitely probably gave them a certain level of respect. At the very least, it gave Winona a certain level of at least respect for Bobo, in that she knows his whole story now. She saw him in the flashback spirit journey that she went on last season. And she knows that he, was a good guy and just was like dealt a shit hand, basically. Doc, Waverly, Dolls, and Jeremy. Yeah, okay, so the one in the background said Xavier Dolls. Okay. What the heck? Why not Nicole? She, once again, another example of Nicole being left out of, it's a very morbid example, but as she said, they tend to leave her out of the inner workings. Just saying. Has anyone seen the stairs, or has it just been the queers? Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good. What's interesting is that most of the cast cast, their characters are queer. It's like 95%, because the only one that's not is Charlie and Winona, because we have Robin, Jeremy, Nicole, and Waverly. But Doc. Okay, so Doc, Winona, Kate, Charlie. Okay, it's 4 and 4. But I got really excited thinking that it was more on the queer side. Foiled again. Nicole probably got eaten by those vultures for her Sky funeral. True dat. She wouldn't have a grave. Very good point. I can't. The last thing that I have to talk about, which is very surprising because I thought I had more, is the fact that with the ring, that is Julian's ring, that is Waverly's father's ring, she can heal people, apparently. So she can burn demon faces, like Derek. She has the power to, punch Constance across a room, burn Derek Demon's face, but also she, by touching Mercedes's face, healed her. And that was where the great quote came from, you beautiful little lesbian, you did it, which is awesome. It was a great line. Probably, it's my favorite line. I'm making that my favorite line in the episode. But yeah, she has magic powers now, and it's like, it's what she deserves. Let's be real. We get Anna Silk next episode. Yes, we do. So fun that Emily is bringing over all the people from Lost Girl I'm very happy about it. We're missing the other one, and please forgive me. I never watched Lost Girl, and I don't know her name, but I know Anna Silk. God damn it! Now I'm spacing on who was just in the last episode. Jolene. What the fuck? What is her name? I can't remember. Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. Moving on. Jeremy is good at those things, but he's not a beaver expert. Damn it! That was another hilarious line. That's my second favorite line. I had a feeling that the minute we really touched Mercedes' face, something was going to happen. I thought it was just a really tender moment, and I was like really impressed with how nice the moment was. I wasn't really expecting anything to happen after that, but good on you if you knew. What would have happened if Nicole went up the stairs without Peacemaker? Nicole was about to go up the stairs, but she didn't. She probably would have died or something. Emily said that unless specifically stated, all characters are not straight. Did she say this? I mean, I guess it's true to most things in life, unless you're specifically stated that you're straight. You can kind of assume that people are not, I guess, because more than likely they're going to hide the fact that they're queer than hide the fact that they're straight. So yeah, you know, I get vibes from Winona. I do. I really do. Do you think the ring being Julian's not Bolshar's means it is helpful and not something they should be afraid of? Abso-freaking-lutely, I do. And I've said it multiple times in my reactions that based on all evidence that they have so far, the only thing the ring that has done is protect people. Like protect Waverly, protect Nicole. And it's just kind of creepy that it's been showing up, you know, following Nicole or whatever. But like all the evidence points to that it's a good thing. So yeah, I think it is. I think it's a good little thing to have. Zoe Palmer, thank you. Ugh. God, I'm an idiot. Rachel Starskin is the other one. Yes. I remembered her name. I wouldn't be surprised if she showed up soon enough, too. Okay. Derek was also a Lost Girl character. Emily's just reaping the pool of talented people that she once worked with. I didn't write down a favorite moment. My favorite moment was the moment when Winona found herself back at the beginning of the loop when she thought she had gotten out of it. It was just such a emotionally heavy moment that it was probably my favorite moment. Tim Rozone was from Lost Girl too? What the heck? Oh my god, Rachel Starskin was... Oh my god, you guys. I don't remember anything ever. My mind is just a pool of forgetfulness. She was in Winona Earp. She played Dawes' Black Badge partner person. Haha. So we've used everybody except for Anna Silk, which she's coming in the next episode. Very good, very good. Was in the first episode of the second season. Wow. She was the one with the nice underwear. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Yes. That's just always like my favorite thing ever is because Melanie and Dominique have such great sister vibes anyway, and they're such great friends, and they really portray sisters well on screen. And it makes me wish I had a sister. It was really nice having Waverly be the one that got her out of the tree and all that. Kat was in an episode of Lost Girl. Worlds colliding. It's craziness. That's like all the J.J. Abrams stuff, having like the same 6 people in it. Like everyone from Lost migrated to Once Upon a Time. You know, same thing. Emily wants to body swap Nicole and Winona I heard about this, and I'm pretty sure that I said in an EarpChat, like 2 EarpChats ago, that I would be down for that body swap, and I still am. For those who say that it's creepy that Charlie might be Julian, whoa. Remember that Emily already had Wynonna kiss Waverly twice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I still think about that. So weird. But also, independent of the weirdness, it was very interesting. Who else should body swap? Wynonna Nicole is like the obvious one. I would love if Waverly and Doc body swapped, because then that would mean that Tim would have to act as Waverly, which would be hilarious because they're pretty opposite. They're like complete opposites. And Dominique would have to act like a old-timey Western dude, and it would be hilarious. Body swap episode. Calling it now. Season 4, episode 7. That's such a random that's such a random one. Okay. Hold you to that. Write that down somewhere so you remember when that rolls around if it actually happened. All right. Well, I've covered everything that I wanted to cover in the episode, and we're at time right now. But what I haven't mentioned is my biggest question going into the next episode, which I didn't think about before starting this EarpChat. So I'm thinking about it now. And I guess my biggest question is, what are we going to do without Peacemaker? And also, what is going to happen when Balshar finally gets into the garden? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be real bad? We don't know. Nothing's really stopping him at this point because he has everything he needs, which is, you know, the knowledge of where it is. He's got his tarot cards, you know, telling his future, and he's got Peacemaker. So really, there's nothing stopping him. Waverly in Doc's hat. Yes, absolutely. I like seeing Waverly's new powers and her burning the demon and healing Mercedes. I think that, like, her angelic nature probably is, like, moving through the ring, and the ring is, like, supplementing her power, because I feel like she's always had it inside her, you know? I've always seen powers in Waverly. But okay, so episode 7 of each season is always a Wynonna and Nicole episode. So yeah. All signs would point to that would be the body swap next season. Julian will defeat Balshar in the season finale, but there will be a scene that will show Julian isn't a good guy. I think that in Wynonna Earp, no one is, minus the Revenants, which are pretty straight up evil, like by nature, because they come from hell. No one is really like one or the other, good or bad. There's just a bunch of shit going on that makes it all complicated. Honestly, I have no predictions. Can't see where this is going. Me neither. I'm just along for the ride. And that's all I can hope to be. Well, with that, thank you guys again for joining for another EarpChat. This one was really a favorite of mine in terms of episodes of the season, which I say that every week, but it was really emotional, and I like that. I like when we kind of dive into a more emotional side of Wynonna Earp. So if you got work in 3 hours, thank you for being here. Wow. Good job, everyone. Merry Chatmas. I love that. I love it. I love it. We should start a hashtag. Thank you guys for joining, and I can't wait to watch episode 10. We have like 3 or 4 episodes left, which is crazy, but that means we'll get to chat that much more about the remaining episodes. So good night. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys soon.